Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we are here to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And where are we?
Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 6.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right, text 6. When King Puranjan was embraced by Kalakanya, he gradually lost all his beauty. Having been too much addicted to sex, he became very poor in intelligence and lost all his opulence. Being bereft of all possessions, he was conquered forcibly by the Gandharvas and the Yavanas. Purport. When a person is attacked by the invalidity of old age and still addicted to sense gratification, he gradually loses all his personal beauty, intelligence, and good possessions. He thus cannot resist the forceful attack of the daughter of time. I've got nothing to say. No, as in it's straightforward, isn't it?
Prabhupada has said it all perfectly. Somehow I found it striking that, because you read the allegory and it's when Puranjan was embraced by Kalakanya, he gradually lost all his beauty. But Prabhupada says when a person is attacked by the invalidity of old age, then it means that's basically, it kind of hits you. All of a sudden you realize I'm old and my skin is being pulled down like this and wrinkles and weight goes on, aches start to happen, fatigue is so many things. I mean, what to speak of, it says here that, and he's still addicted to sense gratification. Whether you're addicted to sense gratification or not, just getting old, it has an impact. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, he was 70 years old when he came, and he was just for 12 years. 12 years, yeah, he just, gave it all.
Yeah.
Did more than most young people do in their whole lives, what to speak of. I often think, Prabhupada was 70 years old really when he kind of really started things. And even then it was like tick, 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 tick. And then, probably in the last 5 to 7 years, it just took off and was, wow. Imagine, God, people lived their whole life, and he was in India and Radha Damodar temple, writing, translating, still working, still doing stuff. So it wasn't like he only started when he came here. He was doing stuff for years, but laying the foundation. But you just wonder, will anything come of it? But Prabhupada handled all of that in the old age, in his 70s and 80s. It's quite intense. So he was definitely in a different category. But we see people, it's tough. Getting old is not an easy thing. Let me tell you, getting old is not easy.
Okay.
Okay. Text 7. King Puranjan then saw that everything in his town was scattered and that his sons, grandsons, servants, and ministers were all gradually opposing him. He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent. We have direct experience.
Really?
Purport. When one becomes an invalid, his senses and organs are weakened. In other words, they are no longer under one's control. The senses and sense objects then begin to oppose him. When a person is in a distressed condition, even his family members, his sons, grandsons, and wife become disrespectful. They no longer are under the command of the master of the house. Just as we wish to use our senses for sense gratification, the senses also require strength from the body and reciprocation. A man keeps a family for enjoyment, and similarly, family members demand enjoyment from the head of the family. When they do not receive sufficient money from him, they grow disinterested and ignore his commands or desires. This is all due to one's being a kripana, miser. The word kripana used in the sixth verse is in opposition to the word brahmana. In the human form of life, one should become a brahmana, which means that one should understand the constitutional position of the absolute truth. Brahmana, absolute truth of Brahman, and then engage in his service as a Vaishnava. We get this facility in the human form of life, but if we do not properly utilize this opportunity, we become a kripana, miser. A miser is one who gets money but does not spend it properly. This human form of life is especially meant for understanding Brahman, for becoming a brahmana, and if we do not utilize it properly, we remain a kripana. We can actually see that when one has money but does not spend it, he remains a miser and is never happy. Similarly, when one's intelligence is spoiled due to sense gratification, he remains a miser throughout his life. So there we go. So this term kripana, which is also used in Bhagavad Gita, Karpanya dashipahata svabha prachamitam dharma samujyataha yatshriyan shanishitam bruhitami shishashteham sarimam tvam prapanam karpanya doshipahata svabha. So I am experiencing miserly weakness, Arjuna says. And the word is used elsewhere. Krishna refers to Arjuna as don't be a miser. You should understand the meaning of life, the purpose of life. So like that, we might think that just being a miser, being a kripana, means that I don't give money, or I hoard money, or I try to like penny pinch or something. But here Prabhupada explains that, and he says back in verse 6, kripana, yes, the word kripana is used there, miser, but I don't see the word brahmana. He mentions that it's positioned opposite to brahmana. But so here he's saying that a brahmana is someone who is more or less magnanimous, because a brahmana understands the meaning and the purpose of life, and then he gives. And what does he give? He gives the real wealth, which is spiritual knowledge and spiritual wisdom. So like that. So if we also understand, then we will want to give. And on that note, I would just like to say that you should definitely give some books at this time of year. I don't want to miss a chance for encouraging people to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada's books, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, or smaller books. So, and if you'd like to sponsor any books with us for the Bhakti Center, then you can let us know. We'll get in touch with you. So it's a good time to give. This time of year is the time of giving. So don't be a kripana, be a brahmana. Hare Krishna.
All right.
All right.
All right, one more.
One more for the road.
When King Puranjan saw that all his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else had turned against him, he certainly became very anxious. But he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by kalakanya. Purport. When a person becomes weak from the attack of old age, the family members, servants, and secretaries do not care for him. He is then unable to counteract this. Thus he becomes more and more anxious and laments his frightful condition. It's so true. It's so true. I've seen it, and it's sad.
I was feeling it.
Yes, it's so interesting how time works. Where once someone would have walked tall and proud doesn't have to be negative, but just and provided, as it were, in terms of whatever money, shelter, you know. It's interesting once you get old age and not just old, but like when you become yeah, when, like it says, when invalidity attacks, when you, oh, I can't walk, or you go, because you got to retire or whatever. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just so, material life, it's so brutal. It's like you do become like just in the way, or what's he saying, you know, what's granddad saying, oh, you're so silly, or you don't know. And I remember one time, I think it was my dad, he was like, saying something, and my niece, you know, she's a bit mouthy anyway, but I don't know where she gets it from, but she was saying something, or, and then he's like, he say something like, oh, I taught you how to eat, you know, I put the spoon in your hand, and you know, I was feeding you, but it was there for a reason. But Hare Krishna. So some people just got a fidget, yeah, it's just it's a condition anyway. So it's like, yeah, so I taught you how to eat, and now would you know, who you
How to
talking,
walk, how to talk, you know.
and that's just life. And then the people that, you know, because material nature and all that is so covering, that you just, if you don't always remain grateful, you don't appreciate these things.
Yeah, I was just with one senior lady, elderly, in the hospital, just turned 75, and, you know, having so many problems. And yeah, and you just see it's such a difficult situation. Getting old and nearing death is like, and she's a devotee, and like a really nice devotee, and she's like, I'm not afraid of death, but I feel afraid of the suffering I'm going to have to go through before I get to death. And it's like, you know, and I'm there with her, and she's lying in the bed, and somehow I'm trying to be there with her, but I'm also thinking to myself, God, I hope I die before I get old, you know. It's like, what is that, like a Rolling Stones song, you know? Yeah, that, you know, because it's like living a long life, which is often people bless you, may you live a long life. but why would you want to live a long? Then you get old and you just deteriorate more and more, until you feel like, I'm ready to go. Please, just, you know. And that's what she was saying. You know, she's torn between praying to Krishna to please take me and please help me. You know, because somehow we're still attached to this body. Even though the body has become invalid and useless, we still want to be in the body. So, yeah, it's a tough situation. Tough situation. Okay, so maybe we'll leave it as a short and sweet this week. Where are we up to? You read text 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you all very much for tuning in again and again. We're heading up to the Christmas season. So again, if you would like, please, to your local center or wherever you are, get some books, give them as gifts, share this knowledge, this wisdom of the Srimad Bhagavatam with others. It's so valuable. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.